All right, so we're diving into something that's been just blowing up lately. Learning management systems, or LMS for short. You probably heard the term, but we're going to really get into it in this deep dive.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
It is. And we've got a ton of stuff to dig through. Market reports, profiles of different companies doing this, even some case studies to figure out what's making this whole thing grow so fast.
It's not just hype either. It's like this shift to digital learning has been happening, for a while. But then things like the pandemic, everyone working from home, that's really just thrown fuel on the fire.
Yeah, for sure. And it feels like the way people learn is changing big time, and LMS is right in the middle of it all.
Right at the heart of it, absolutely.
I was looking at this one report, the Learning Management System Market Size Report 2030, and one stat just jumped out at me. By 2033, the global market for this stuff is predicted to hit, get this, $107.9 billion. That's insane.
It's a huge number. And I think it just shows you how much this is changing everything. Like the days of everyone learning the same way in the same classroom, those days are fading fast.
Yeah, exactly.
People want like personalized learning, stuff that fits their lives, their goals, how they actually learn best. And LMS platforms, they're perfect for that because you can customize content, track your progress, have flexibility.
Okay, so let's break this down a bit, starting with the basics. For someone who might not be totally familiar, what actually makes up an LMS? What are we even talking about here?
Right. So at its core, an LMS is basically a software platform, and it's designed to do a few key things: create educational content, manage it, and deliver it. Think of it as a central hub for everything related to learning.
Gotcha.
So you've got tools for creating and managing the actual content, then assessing how people are doing, giving feedback. You can communicate, collaborate, and of course you can track how students are progressing, how well they're doing.
So it's more than just like throwing up some PowerPoint slides online and calling it a day.
Oh, way more. You can have interactive stuff, multimedia, personalized learning paths, even things like gamification to keep people engaged.
Gamification, that's interesting. Like making it more fun, right?
Exactly. There's this source, the 10 Benefits of Learning Management Systems for Higher Education Institutions, and it talks about the power of blending learning models. Like, students can attend lectures in person, but also access all the materials online through the LMS, seamlessly integrated.
Makes sense. And that kind of ties into what you were saying earlier about needing flexible learning options,
Definitely.
especially now with so much remote work and everyone needing to learn new skills all the time. The old classroom model just doesn't cut it anymore.
It can't keep up with the pace of change. People need to be able to learn when it works for them, wherever they are, and LMS makes that possible.
Speaking of access, one thing that I found really interesting was the role of 5G in all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Our notes mentioned something about 5G turbocharging cloud-based LMS.
Yeah.
Like, is that really a game changer?
5G is all about speed and low latency, right? Perfect for anything in the cloud, like LMS. Imagine streaming these high-quality video lectures, but with zero lag, even on your phone. That's what 5G enables.
So even people in areas without great internet, they can still get access to this stuff.
Exactly. It opens up so many possibilities. And speaking of mobile learning, there's this wild stat from the 51 LMS statistics source. People learning on their phones actually finish the material 45% faster than those on computers.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed that.
Right. I guess it shows how mobile-first design is changing how we learn. We're so used to getting information on the go, and LMS platforms are adapting to that. We're seeing a lot of micro-learning where content is broken down into smaller chunks, perfect for your phone.
So it's about fitting learning into our busy lives instead of expecting people to clear their whole schedule.
Precisely. And it also connects to the need for personalization. There's a source, the 7 key LMS benefits to improve learning and boost engagement, and it stresses tailoring the content to individual needs, how each person learns best.
It's like having a personal tutor, but for everyone. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. Not everyone learns at the same pace, same way. LMS gives us the tools to address those differences.
But that level of customization, it also makes me think about the role of AI in all of this.
Yeah, AI is already a big part of it, and it's only going to become more important. We're seeing LMS platforms using AI to analyze learner data, create personalized learning paths, even automate things like grading and feedback.
It sounds incredible, but let's be real. All this potential comes with some challenges.
Absolutely.
One thing that keeps coming back to me is data privacy. All these platforms are collecting tons of information about learners. How do we make sure the data is being handled responsibly and ethically?
That's a key concern, definitely. Data security and privacy are paramount. And the Learning Management System Market Size and Global Forecast Markets SAN Markets report highlights that as a major challenge for the industry.
It's not just about keeping sensitive information safe. It's about using the data ethically and transparently. People need to know how their data is being collected, used, and stored.
Absolutely. That's a conversation we need to have alongside all the excitement about the possibilities.
Right, because the potential for misuse is definitely there.
Yes. And that potential for misuse can make existing inequalities even worse. If access to technology and digital literacy skills aren't equally distributed, then we risk creating a system where some learners thrive and others get left behind.
It's a two-tiered system, and that's not what we want. We need to be mindful of these issues as we move forward.
Absolutely. We need to make sure that the benefits of LMS are accessible to everyone.
It all comes down to thoughtful implementation. An LMS is a tool, right?
Okay.
That's only as good as the people using it and the quality of the content. You could have the most amazing platform in the world, but if the content's bad or the teaching isn't engaging, it's not going to matter.
It's about more than just the technology. It's about using it effectively to achieve our learning goals.
Exactly. And that's where this Learning Management Systems for Education, Features, Benefits, and Challenges in 2024 source comes in. It talks about how important it is to develop high-quality content, evaluate what we're doing, and provide professional development for instructors. LMS can make good teaching even better, but it can't replace good teaching altogether.
It's a tool that amplifies good practices, but it's not a magic bullet.
Right. Technology is a means to an end. The goal is to create engaging and effective learning experiences, and LMS can help us do that, but it's not the whole story.
That's a great point. We've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive, but we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore, and next time we'll be looking at what's coming next for LMS. Things like VR and AR integration, adaptive learning, and the rise of microlearning.
Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this technology continues to evolve.
It's an exciting time for learning. Welcome back. We're picking up where we left off, digging deeper into this whole world of learning management systems.
Last time, we were talking about why LMS is growing so fast and some of the challenges that come with it. But now, I'm going to look ahead. What's the future of all this?
Yeah.
Our sources paint a pretty interesting picture.
Yeah, the ultimate guide to learning management systems in education's source. It predicts a future where it's all about personalization, immersion, and using data to really understand how people learn. We're talking about education that's tailored to each individual person, using technology to make learning truly engaging.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's break that down. One thing that really stood out to me was the idea of using virtual reality and augmented reality in LMS.
VR and AR, yeah.
I mean, imagine learning about ancient Rome by actually walking through the Colosseum virtually,
Yeah.
or dissecting a frog in biology class without having to, actually dissect a frog. That's taking learning to a whole new level.
It's not just science fiction anymore. A bunch of companies are already trying this out, incorporating VR and AR into their LMS platforms. The Learning Management System Market Size and Global Forecast Markets and Markets report talks about this. Medical students could practice surgery in a virtual operating room. History students could experience historical events through these immersive simulations. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
It sounds incredible, but I also wonder, how practical is it? VR and AR headsets, they can be expensive. Is that something everyone can actually access?
Yeah, that's a good point. Cost has been a barrier, for sure. But like any new technology, the price is going down as more people use it. And as it becomes more popular, we'll see even more innovation, probably even lower prices. So I think it's just a matter of time before these immersive experiences become more widely available.
So it's not if, but when. That's pretty exciting. What else is on the horizon for LMS?
Another big trend is adaptive learning. This is where the LMS uses AI to figure out how well the learner understands the material, and then it adjusts the difficulty, the content, even the pace, all in real time.
So it's like a personalized learning experience that adapts to you as you go.
Exactly. The 51 LMS statistics source points out that personalized learning is becoming more and more popular in education. And adaptive learning could make a huge difference because it caters to individual needs and learning styles. No more one-size-fits-all approach.
It recognizes that everyone learns differently, which makes sense. But with all this AI involved, What about the teachers? Will they become obsolete in this future of education?
That's a question a lot of people are asking, and it's an important one.
Right.
Look, AI can automate a lot of stuff, personalize things, but it can't replace a good teacher.
Yeah, I agree.
Teachers provide guidance, they're mentors, they offer support, and that human connection. Those things are so important for a well-rounded education. AI just can't replicate that.
I totally agree. Technology should make teachers better, not replace them. And the Learning Management System Market Size Report 2030 actually supports that idea. It says that human interaction and guidance are still vital, even with all the advances in AI. It's about finding the right balance.
Absolutely. It's about giving educators better tools so they can create more engaging and effective learning experiences. It's about collaboration, not replacement.
I like that perspective. Okay, so we've got VRR and adaptive learning. Anything else coming down the pipeline?
The Ultimate Guide to Learning Management Systems in Educations also talks about microlearning becoming more and more important. It's about delivering small chunks of learning content, often on mobile devices.
Which fits with what we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Flexibility, accessibility. It's about fitting learning into those little gaps we have in our day.
Exactly. Microlearning is designed to be easy to understand and quick to access. It's great for reinforcing concepts, learning new skills, or staying up to date on stuff without needing a lot of time.
So instead of overwhelming people with hours of content, it's breaking it down into manageable pieces.
Right. And that works well for busy professionals who are already juggling a million things. Another thing we're seeing is a shift towards more flexible and accessible learning environments overall. LMS platforms are becoming more mobile-friendly, more personalized, and they're adapting to different learning styles and preferences.
So it's all about putting the learner at the center and recognizing that everyone learns differently.
Exactly. It's about empowering learners to learn in ways that work for them, on their own time, and at their own pace. It's about breaking down the barriers to education and making learning more accessible and engaging for everyone.
That's a great goal. But as we think about all of this, we also need to consider what it means for society as a whole. What are the potential benefits and challenges of LMS becoming so widespread?
One of the biggest potential benefits is that lifelong learning could become the norm. The old model of going to school for a few years and then entering the workforce, that's becoming less and less relevant in today's world.
Yeah, with technology changing so fast, we need to keep learning and updating our skills to stay ahead.
Exactly. And LMS platforms are perfect for supporting that kind of lifelong learning. They offer a flexible and accessible way to learn new things throughout our lives, whether it's for work, personal growth, or just the joy of learning something new.
It's about giving people the power to direct their own learning, to become active participants in their own development.
Yeah,
That's pretty powerful, but there are also potential downsides, right?
of course. One of the biggest risks is that it could actually increase inequality. If access to technology and digital literacy skills aren't evenly distributed, then we could see a growing gap between those who benefit from LMS and those who don't.
That's a critical point.
Hmm.
We need to make sure everyone has equal access to technology and the skills to use it so they can thrive in this new learning environment.
Definitely. It's like any powerful tool. It can be used for good or for bad, depending on who has access to it and how it's used. Another concern is data privacy. With all this data being collected about learners, we need strong safeguards in place to protect that information.
Data privacy is a huge issue these days. We need to make sure these platforms are being used ethically and responsibly. There need to be clear rules about how data is collected, stored, and used, and the learning management systems for education. Features, benefits, and challenges in 2024 source, it specifically says that data security needs to be a top priority for anyone using an LMS.
Couldn't agree more. It's a complex issue, and there are no easy answers, but it's a conversation we need to be having. The benefits of LMS are clear, but we need to be aware of the potential risks and take steps to minimize them.
Right, it's about being responsible with this technology.
Yep.
Okay, so we've talked about the possibilities, the potential problems. It's clear that LMS could completely change how we learn and make it more accessible, engaging, and personalized. But it's not a magic solution, and we need to be thoughtful about how we implement it.
Exactly. The future of LMS is tied to the future of education itself, and it's a future with both opportunities and challenges. But one thing is for sure, the way we learn is changing, and LMS is at the heart of that change.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this part of our deep dive. But we're not done yet. Next time, we're going to look at how LMS is being used in the real world across different sectors, from corporate training to healthcare education. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back, everyone. We've talked about why learning management systems are booming and what the future might hold. But now, let's get practical. How is LMS actually being used out there in different fields?
Yeah, that's the real test, right? Seeing how it's being applied in the real world.
Our sources are full of examples. What stood out to you?
Well, education is a big one, obviously. The UK Learning Management System Market Size and Outlook 2030 source really gets into that. Schools, universities, they're all using LMS to enhance their teaching, whether it's traditional classrooms or fully online courses.
It's not just about delivering content either. The Learning Management Systems for Education, Features, Benefits, and Challenges in 2024, Source talks about how it's changing everything, simplifying admin tasks, saving money, making students more engaged.
Right. It's about making learning more interactive, more dynamic. LMS helps with collaboration, makes giving feedback and assessing students easier, and even improves communication between students and teachers.
So it's really adaptable to different needs. But let's shift gears for a minute and talk about the business world. How are companies using LMS to stay competitive these days?
Corporate training is actually one of the fastest growing areas for LMS, according to the Learning Management System, LMS, Market Size, and Global Forecast Markets and Markets Report. Companies are realizing that investing in their employees' development is crucial, and LMS is a cost-effective way to do that.
Yeah, makes sense. With skills becoming outdated so quickly, continuous learning is essential. And the top 8 benefits of using learning management system source lays out the advantages. Lower training costs, time saved, and a more engaged and skilled workforce.
Plus, think about all the remote work happening now. LMS is a game changer for onboarding new employees, delivering consistent training no matter where they are, and making sure everyone's up to date on policies and procedures.
And we've got a note here about how LMS helps organizations stay compliant with regulations. That's a big deal in industries with lots of rules, right?
Absolutely. Healthcare, finance, law, those are areas where compliance is mandatory. LMS streamlines compliance training, tracks employee progress, and makes sure everyone meets the necessary standards.
So it takes the guesswork out of it. Speaking of healthcare, I'm really interested in how LMS is affecting medical education and training.
Yeah, the Learning Management System Market Size Share Growth 2032 source goes into that. Medical schools and hospitals are using LMS to train doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals on the latest techniques, technologies, and best practices. And it's not just about initial training, it's about lifelong learning in a field that's constantly evolving.
So staying up to date is crucial. But the report also talks about how LMS is making medical education more accessible overall. Things like closed captioning, screen readers, those tools open up learning opportunities to a much wider range of people.
That's right. It's about making learning more inclusive so everyone has a chance to succeed. And it's not just happening in the private sector either. Government agencies and nonprofit organizations are using LMS too.
For everything from training their employees to putting out public service announcements and even providing educational resources to communities. The complete LMS RFP template to choose the right LMS source mentions that nonprofits especially need an LMS that can adapt to different needs and budgets. It shows how flexible this technology can be.
That adaptability is key. Whether it's a huge corporation, a small school district, or a local nonprofit, there's an LMS solution out there that can be tailored to their specific goals.
It's pretty amazing how LMS is making learning more accessible for everyone, breaking down barriers, and giving power to individuals and organizations around the world.
And we've only scratched the surface. As LMS technology continues to develop, we can expect to see even more innovative uses, really changing how we learn and work in the future.
It's definitely an exciting time to be a learner, a teacher, and just someone who's interested in all this. We've covered a lot in this deep dive. We looked at why LMS is growing so fast, explored what might be next, and saw how it's being used in different areas.
I hope this has sparked your curiosity and maybe even given you some ideas about how LMS could be used to improve your own learning or the learning of those around you.
That's a great point to end on. Whether you're a student, an employee, a teacher, or just someone who loves learning, the world of LMS is full of possibilities. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep digging deeper.